There he is. Oh gosh, look at there. That's awesome. Now that fish right there was up in inches of water, just cruising around. That's what's so awesome about the Ned rig, is that it's a technique. It doesn't matter if it's summertime, wintertime, spawning time of the year, post spawn. This technique is just a fish catching technique. It's just so unique, intrusive to them. Like it just looks like a French fry that we would all eat, is really what it does. If you're fishing for smallmouth using a Ned head, they're sight feeders, and they'll just get up on these sand flats and just start cruising around looking for something. Look at there, that is a good one. Oh my gosh, that's what I'm talking about. In this particular area that we're in, I went to a very light head, because if you use a big head, if you're using a very heavy head, what happens is it'll hit the bottom too quick. So when you are fishing a Ned rig, always match up the size head that you're wanting to use to the depth that you're fishing. Now this is just an incredible smallmouth right here. Wow, look at that. Look at that. That's awesome. So what I'm talking about is basically, look at this. Here's what I'm talking about. We're fishing a sand flat. Thank you, girl. You're giving us viewers a great lesson with the Ned rig. See you later. So here's what I'm talking about. I actually have a 1/16 ounce Ned head, okay? This is a 1/16 ounce Ned head, and the importance of having the right weight for the right depth that you're fishing, when they're out on these sand flats just cruising around looking for something to eat. If I was to use a heavy head, that head is going to go thump. So always match the head size weight to the depth that you're fishing. I want to explain to you a little bit of difference between 1/0 hooks and 2/0 hooks and the size weights, depending on the size Ned that you're throwing. My typical choice is going to be a 2/0 first. I have multiple size weights with different size hooks. Now, my first choice, like I said, is going to be a 2/0. When those bass are real finicky and they seem to be hard to catch, I'm going to go down to a 1/0. They might be getting too good of a look at the hook, but depending on the weight. So let's talk this. If I'm fishing anything deeper than 15 foot, I'm going to use all the way up to a 3/16, sometimes a 1/4. But if I'm fishing anywhere between 15 and 10 foot, of course I'm going to be going down to an 1/8 ounce. Anything between 8 and 5 foot. I love a 3/32. It's probably one of my favorite sizes to throw. And if I'm extremely shallow, I'm going to use a 1/16. So make sure you pay attention to the hooks, hook sizes, and weights when you're choosing a head. Okay, once you do make a cast with the Ned rig, okay, you're going to let it go to the bottom. Now remember, you're going to match the right weight with the right size. Then I'm basically just going to take and move it slowly across the bottom. Oh, look at there. Just like that. You saw how slow I moved that across the bottom? That was awesome. And what you want it to do, you want that bottom, whoa, that's awesome. You want the bottom of the lake to dance that head better than you can do mechanically. Okay, so I'll explain to you what I mean by that. Thank you, buddy. A lot of Ned rigs might be straight pieces of plastic, but with this particular Ned rig, it's got a small little tail, And as that Ned head comes across the bottom, that little tail is just wagging, just like saying, come get me, come eat me. And that's what I mean. You're gonna wanna just drag it slowly across the bottom, let this little flag wave at him, and when he sees that, he thinks it's an easy meal. There's one. There's one. And when it comes to choosing line size with these fish, line size is very critical because we actually talked about having the fall, how important the fall is when fishing a Ned rig, but line size is almost as critical. Line size is almost as critical as the weight of the lure that you're throwing. In order to get the right fall, and the fall that I'm looking for is something straight. I do not like my bait gliding forward. I like my bait to fall straight down. And line size is going to alter the fall of your Ned rig in the way that you want it. So the deeper I'm fishing, the lighter the line I'm using. The shallower I'm fishing, the little bit heavier of the line I'm using, because it's only falling very short periods of time, and I can let it hover a little longer by using bigger lines. So make sure you pair up your Ned rig with the right size line for the depth that you're fishing. And 6-pound test is going to be anywhere from 15 foot and deeper. Anywhere from, like, let's say 8 to 15, I'm using 8-pound test, and anything shallower than 8, you can bump it up to 10-pound test. You're always going to want to use fluorocarbon. Fluorocarbon is a sinking style of line, and that's critical to get that straight drop. Now the rod and reel that I have designed is a crazy series rod. I wanted to build a rod that had just the right amount of action for a finesse. See that bite, see just what I was talking about. I barely felt that fish. If you do not have the right sensitivity in your rod, you could miss out on a beautiful fish like this. Beautiful. Now the rod I like to use, and of course it's one that I designed, is made by Proficiency. It's a 7'2", and it has just the right amount of tip action. You can see how well the rod bends throughout the whole rod bends, so you're not gonna overpower them. Look at that, see the bend in that rod? That is the perfect amount of action to catch and land these finicky bass. That is so cool. And as you can see, the Ned rig is just catches size, catches quality, catches little ones, it catches big ones. But having the right rod for the right setup is extremely important. One of the #1 keys is rigging your Ned bait correctly and straight. We want that fall to be straight. A trick you can use is take the Ned bait, measure it up to the straight part of the hook. So I know that it's gonna come out about right there. Use your thumb to measure it. You're gonna run your hook straight down through the middle, and then I'm gonna come out right where I marked it at, pull it out. You're gonna push your bait up, and there you have it, straight. You need it very straight. I know I'm gonna get the correct fall for the presentation that I'm looking for. Man, see him out on that graph. That's so cool. Open water Ned rig fishing. Look at there. Man, look at that. You gotta love it. This system of the Ned rig is like none other. Puts a lot of smiles on your face, that's for sure. I've been seeing a lot of fish on my units, depth finders, cruising out in front of the boat as I was looking shallow. So I decided to come in a little bit shallow and throw on the deep side of the drop and bring it up. So it's pretty cool, different angles, different presentation with the Ned rig just by throwing out in open water, deep water off of a drop. There's a good one. Wow, look at that one. Wow. Fishing out in open water, Ned rig can catch them shallow, open water, it doesn't matter. I don't think, and think about this, I don't really think it makes a difference to us where we eat at, right? And I think it's the same thing with them. We would eat a French fry out deep and we would eat a French fry up shallow. That's the great thing about a Ned rig, is that it catches them deep, catches them shallow, and everywhere in between. It's just like a nice little snack that these bass cannot stand, especially when that tail is just dancing across the bottom just like that. It took me a while to get this design right, but hey, catches them deep, shallow. The Ned rig should be in everybody's arsenal, in everybody's tackle box. And it's an exciting way to fish.